Greetings, my audience. My name is Jake. I'm reviewing Iron Man trilogy from 2008 to 2013. Starring playing Robert Downey Jr. as Tony... I can't say that with a straight face. He's playing Robert Downey. I want to say he's playing Tony Stark, but that would be a lie. And I'm afraid the words would choke me to death if I said he plays Tony Stark when he's just playing Robert Downey, the actor. Even the plot movie calls from Tony Stark movie plots. He's just playing Robert Downey Iron Man suit wearing. And he's not a funny comedian telling old man jokes. He tells old man jokes that somehow are less funny than old man fuck saying it. Like George Carlin when he became Lord Fuck. You know, George Carlin says old man jokes, but he makes it sound funny because he grounds it in reality and adds some harsh truths to reality. Well, Tony Stark is not as Robert Downey's not no George Carlin. Or talented like George Carlin. He needs to find a new joke book and throw away his old one because it's not working. But that's okay. Most of the movie is less focused on spectacle and more focused on Robert Downey being a comedian and trying to be a comedian, but failing miserably at it. As someone failing to be sexy. It comes across as someone stripping and failing to be sexy. Because they're too fucking ugly and disformed. And they smell bad. Is what Robert Downey as a person, the Iron Man persona, comes across when he wears the Iron Man costume. In the movie, and out of the costume of the Iron Man suit. He's just playing straight up Robert Downey, giving not the best funny jokes. But this, oh my god, I forget what the jokes are. I forget so many jokes, there's so many of them. There's a ton of Prozac. But one of the jokes is in Iron Man 3 is he plays Christmas carol songs while dancing like it's disco night at the disco. Shows you how old and jaded Tony Stark is in this world building of Iron Man. But really, he's just playing Robert Downey, who's jaded and as fuck as old. And not even funny of a fucker. Like George Carlin was, or Dave Chappelle is. He's just Robert Downey playing a comedian. Given the better... I wish he had better jokes to spare like Star Wars has, or Groot has, or Nebula, or Drax, or, you know, any of the Guardians. I wish he was more like... was in the MCU content. But want to know what this movie has to redeem itself, this saga, is that it kind of is connected to the MCU saga. Where does it begin? Where does it end? I'm not sure if it's ever going to make a clear time when it began. Because, okay, it began in 2002 Spider-Man. Because of Spider-Man, that universe makes a cameo in this universe. But then gets split back to his universe after helping about Spider-Man of this universe, Tom Holland's. So, the fact that this movie has a universe connected to is giving it, basically giving it the legs. The strong legs. The part that's connected to a big universe is what makes this movie tick and work. Saga, I mean, of Iron Man. That's why I give it a 10 out of 10. Sure, might not be comic book accurate portrayal of Iron Man. Sure, the final villain always gets easily defeated by Iron Man, and therefore, like, villain out of nowhere, and Iron Man, like, that shortly fully realized in all 3 installments. And sure, they turned the Mandarin into a joke instead of making him an actual character, like in the 616 universe didn't do. But instead, you know, the 616 universe made him an actual villain, recurring character, like Crossbones and Mandarin. And, you know, like Mandarin was one of those regularly powerful villains in that universe. Well, we have Iron Man 3 to change the lore and make him just a throwaway, non-existing character that's a joke guy that's played by actor. How exciting! Than going for the actual source material lore. Isn't that much better than what we got originally with the comics? Right? I don't know. I don't think so, but other people think so because they like this movie so much. And I love the Iron Man movies so much, so. But I wasn't a big fan before now. But I'm not a big fan because they're faithful to the source material. I'm a big fan because I like them for a different reason. They connect to the cinematic universe and they're loosely based off the source material, treating the characters as horrible punchlines of themselves by making the actors play themselves, just by taking on the name of the character and slapping the character's name on it, even though it has barely anything to do or act like the character from the comic book counterpart run. So, well, that's become famous, and I know Robert Downey made Iron Man the name more famous than before. He made the Iron Man 2 movie or Iron Man 1 or any of the Iron Man movies. But I was much more happy when he was less well known. The character of Tony Stark. I felt like I was more spoiled before he was well known to the public eye. Back in 2008 Iron Man flick, its first installment. I felt like I was more spoiled with the, you know, all of the stuff that came before was the Iron Man character. Before 2008 Iron Man movie came out with Robert Downey. Because to me, Robert Downey is no better than George Clooney's Batman. And Chris O'Donnell's Robin from Batman Robin. Or Mr. Freeze, played by Schwarzenegger. Or Uma Thurman, played by Poison Ivy. Played Poison Ivy. Well, technically, those are all better than George Clooney, Batman, within the same flick performance. I think my point still stands how I said Robert Downey's Iron Man portrayal is no better than George Clooney's Batman from Batman and Robin 1970 flick. And I think everyone will, I think people will actually might come to an agreement if they actually watch both movies back to back on reloop. Like I did. I mean rewatch, not reloop. Hang on, I gotta pause this video. So that's what I think of Iron Man and the trilogy of Iron Man that Robert Downey was a part of. Starting at playing the role of blah blah blah. I didn't care for his portrayal. I think that's enough said. Saying that his Iron Man movies are a bit exhausting to watch, a bit slow burn. Other times, a lot slow to get going. My favorite one is Iron Man 2. Because everyone was common sense to realize Iron Man sucks as a taken seriously character because he has nothing but jokes when it comes to play by Robert Downey portrayal. That's why I think he's completely replaceable, and they should go in a different direction that doesn't represent Downey more at all. You know, Downey's just not an actor, a real serious actor. I mean, never has been. I mean, yeah, he wasn't that one good movie when he played Charlie Chaplin, but he was playing that was like the one good movie he was in where he actually tried to act. It looked like, other than play himself, but most of the time he's meant to play himself, like John Wayne was the Western movies era. Kind of like, you know, is this... I mean, I think John Downey as the actor is an exhausting man to listen to with his jokes. And I think better jokes from the Cat in the Hat movie starring Mike Myers. When he delivered this line, you're not going to listen to this fish. He drinks where he pees. That's much more funnier line than anything Downey has said as Iron Man in many years. Says he shit on the character and wanted to make him a comedian like himself, failing to realize he is no comedian. He's an actor. He should just act or quit his job and go to comedian school. Robert Downey should do that. Or maybe he should relapse. He was only talented when he was on drugs. All those movies that were good performances, I have come to realize he was on drugs the entire time. So maybe the drugs made him talented. Maybe he should just relapse and start making good movies and act. Because he can't do it fucking sober. That's my thoughts on Iron Man trilogy. Why I give them 10 out of 10 for a guilty pleasure because I failed to say very good things about this movie that I can praise. That's why it gets a guilty pleasure 10 out of 10. Making comic book movies worse for everyone. And mostly for me. And making people stupid. Also. These movies do that. That's my review on Iron Man Trilogy. Goodbye, subscribe, like this video, please.